Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, depending on where you are. Welcome to this webinar today. I'm Shaun O'Mara, Global Field CTO for Mirantis, and I'm joined today by Willem du Plessis, our Vice President of Customer Success at Mirantis. Welcome, Willem.
Thanks, Shaun. Good speaking to you.
Likewise. So we're here to talk about the challenges around talent scarcity in the technology industry today and the impact that that is having on the success of all businesses, whether you're a technology company directly or whether you're just a company leveraging technology. As we all know, technology is becoming a core component of the success of any modern business. And this conversation started by our own challenges that we've been seeing within the industry about just keeping and retaining staff, finding great talent to help service our customers. And it's based around some of the learnings that we've had. According to the US Department of Labor, there are currently about 11 million jobs openings advertised within the US. That was the end of April. With nearly 250,000, so 250,000 odd of those just in the information technology space. This is obviously an incredibly difficult market to find great staff, to keep them, to apply those skills appropriately. And one of the promises that we make at Mirantis is that we're always going to provide these cloud native experts. So to put this all in perspective, it really is a difficult challenge. So Willem, it's great that you could join us. We're going to discuss whether this is the new normal in the industry, this talent scarcity challenge, and talk about what we at Mirantis are doing to deal with these challenges. So to kick us off and to sort of set the scene so everybody can understand why, how we are dealing with this challenge and the size of the organization we're dealing with. Willem, do you want to give us a quick overview of your team and some of the talent challenges you've been dealing with in finding good talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, I lead the customer success organization at Mirantis. So, within customer success, we would include our professional services arm, support, managed services, training, as well as our account renewal division. So it's quite a mouthful with a number of various roles and skill levels. So within our professional services teams, as you can think, we've got a wide variety of skills from deployment engineers, sustaining engineers, to architects and so on. So very, very deeply technical individuals. Support, obviously, as part of the support engineers, need to know the stack as well as our product from top to bottom. And our managed services division would be focused on operators as well as SRE function to ensure the workload within our customers, our managed service solutions are running successfully and optimally. And then training, within training, there's all content developers, actual trainers, and so on. So a wide variety of especially technically skilled engineers. And as you mentioned, it can be a challenge to retain this talent. And when we especially speak to customers, we find a number of customers struggling with this challenge. It is, to put it one way, is an interesting time we live in. A lot of customers are really feeling the pinch of this gap of skills that are in the market at the moment to retain and then to acquire talent. And when you acquire this talent, you pay a premium for them. So that is we definitely get that feedback from our customers.
Roughly how many technical people are in your organization today?
Technical around in my organization around 350.
Okay.
Give or take a few.
And you mentioned a lot of those skills are around our products, but what about just the general understanding of basic technologies, ideas and concepts like cloud native? How important is that to the skill set beyond just the products Mirantis offers and the understanding of the larger ecosystem?
Yeah, so especially in our professional services team is the whole scope. It's not specific to our product at all. It's the whole open standards, the whole spectrum of the whole solution a customer needs, customer requires, we'll be able to deliver a solution for them, whatever they need. On the support side, our product is one or two or maybe three layers within the whole stack. So we need to understand the whole stack of
Mm-hmm.
how things fit in together, as well as the managed services piece, right? So you need to have a good concept of how the applications utilize your platform, how that interacts with the hardware, how that interacts with your network layer, and so on. So the skills that we have are quite, attractive to the market, because it is this
Mm-hmm.
big, it really encompasses the whole spectrum of it. And like I said, it is a challenge to retain this talent, but I think we've done a fairly good job to not be too badly impacted by it, and market shift, which, for lack of a better term.
So to put our money where our mouth is, as we move into this discussion, what have been your attrition ratios across the organization? And remember, we're
Yeah,
talking about 350 people here over, let's say, the last year.
yeah. So attrition, I look at attrition in two ways. There's positive and negative attrition.
Mm-hmm.
Getting and someone in your organization moving to another department as part of career growth, or ambitions that they have, that is not, I don't see that as negative attrition. I think it's a good thing. It's a valuable thing within a company to facilitate that. That keeps things alive and fresh, and creates a bit of energy for people to move through the organization. But negative attrition, 4 or 5 years ago, you would say 7% would be too high, but at the moment, it is actually really good when you look at the average you see out there. So it's around about the 7% mark.
And how many of that percentage of people have actually just moved to better roles or different roles, not necessarily better roles, but alternative roles within the organization itself?
So that 7% would be primarily focused on moving external of Mirantis. The internal within Mirantis, we do not necessarily classify that as attrition as such. The Mirantis still maintain or retain rather the skills of that individual. So
Mm-hmm.
the goodness of those skills will just be used elsewhere, whether that is now product organization or pre-sales or wherever that individual skills are required. The negative attrition obviously is external towards Mirantis.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Bit of a left field question though. How many people who've left the company have come back after realizing the grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side?
That is a very good question. I don't have a number, but it's more than you would think, right? So,
Mm.
um, a lot of companies would think of it, yeah, well, if you wanted to go, and we won't, best of luck. But we understand people want to test the water, and they realize, okay, maybe it's not the best of decisions. And 6 months later, you get a text message or a phone call from someone and say, hey, can we have a chat? And
Yeah.
that's always good to see.
Yeah, that's a great place to be. I mean, I can think of a handful of people off the top of my head.
Absolutely. Quite a few.
So
Quite a few.
yeah, that's fantastic. Well, that leads us to a really great question then. So what have you done within your organization to, firstly, obviously retain the people we have, because we have a lot of great people, but also to find these great people as we go forward? And what are the strategies you've put in place and that you live by?
Yeah, so I think that the first thing that we need to realize is you need to accept that this is going to happen. You are going to lose some people along the way at some point in time, right? And it's
Hmm.
not about preventing it. You can surely limit it, absolutely, but it's about preparing for it. How do you prepare for if and when something like that happens? You're gonna lose a critical member of your staff at some point in time. So how do you prepare for it and ensure it doesn't have a devastating effect on your business? That's the biggest thing. And the way Mirantis and we've approached it within customer success is to be permanently in that preparation phase, or mode. And we've been doing it for the last, I don't know how many years, but it's years and years and years. So we've got, let's start at the proverbial bottom, right? Is we've got some very, very strong mentorship and development programs that we have within the organization that span the various teams that we spoke about, whether that is PS, support, operations, whatever that may be. People have a number of avenues where they can go and where their career takes them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that we did was establish a very strong graduate program. Now, a graduate program is, typically for younger people that are just finishing up with college or at the early stages of their career, or even for people that are in a little bit later in life and they're looking for a career change. We bring them in under that graduate program. It's a very set and specific program that we take them through over the course of 6 or 12 months, depending on the path for the individual. Where they have a very specific set of training modules they go through. Now we're fortunate in the way that we have a very strong training department that we take our engineers through various training courses that are available to our customers. Our customers can avail the exact same courses. So we take them through these courses and then align them with some form of a mentor to get them from that graduate form where the company cannot really use the individual for a short period of time, but it's how do you condense that to the shortest amount of time. So within 2 to 3 months, you can get the individual to a place where the company can use him or her, and then grow the individual from there via mentorship program, by the mentorship engagement.
So what I'm saying is, along with what I'm hearing is, along with the training component, we're also trying to compress that training to make that individual more valuable to the company a lot faster than the traditional model.
Exactly. So the training is massively valuable to get the individual off the so-called ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the real goodness comes in when they get their hands dirty and really start working on the technology in a real world setup, right? So we've got a number of guardrails in place and to prevent, someone that is not fully at a principal level to make a mistake or whatever. So that will not happen. But how do you get that person from a graduate to where the company can really use that to compress that to the smallest amount of money, smallest amount of time?
So you could describe some of those guardrails that you put in place? I mean, you spoke about the mentorship program. I suppose that those things are related to each other as well.
Yeah. So like I said, it's a very structured program we go through, that there are small milestones within the program that the individual needs to hit, whether that is within 2 months or a month or 6 months, 3 months, whatever it might be. And to make this program very successful and not just set yourself up for more churn or more attrition later on in the year, once you've given this individual all the tools and the tricks to the trade, and just set yourself up for attrition later. You need to do these market adjustments as they go, small incremental adjustments to keep that the fire burning, show progress, and stop making unnecessary moves outside of the company. So you need to stay fairly relevant there. So some of the guardrails at each point, it's a very scoped piece of work that they need to do, and there's a specific frame they can work within freely, that it's safe within that. But as soon as they hit the side of that frame, that's where the mentors step in to help them with it. One thing that I do want to mention that is absolutely crucial if anyone wants to start some program like this, and it is topic that is easily overlooked, is that mentorship piece. You need to allow time from your mentors, which are usually your more senior individuals. These are the individuals you want to get in front of your customers as much as possible. Get them in front of the most challenging technical problems as much as possible. But it is a commitment that you as an organization need to make. So you need to allow that 15, 10, 20% of their time where they can spend time with the talent of tomorrow. And that's the way you need to see it. It is not wasted time. It is an investment for tomorrow, right? If you do not allow for that bandwidth for those from those senior resources, which is expensive and painful, especially when the pressure comes. When you've got a number of customers which are demanding, and you've got a number of challenging issues you need to resolve. It's quick for these programs to be shifted to the back burner. And I think it's a mindset that you need to go into and realize this is a priority. If you do not make it a priority, you're going to keep chasing your tail and not see the results in these mentorship programs the way you want to see it. So allowing these senior resources time with your graduates or your developing employees is crucial. Without it, you're not going to see the results you're looking for.
Yeah, that sounds like an incredibly important point. At the end of the day, it's not just about making time for the new people coming in, but allowing the people who have those skills to be available and have the time to pass on those skills and create those relationships, I'm sure. I mean, part of the mentorship is creating the relationships for people as we move forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic. So that brings an interesting kind of segue here. You speak about those stages individuals have to go through, and you alluded to being competitive in the market as well, and keeping people moving forward both career-wise, but of course we all work to pay the bills at the end of the day. What do you suggest from a competitive point of view in retaining and maintaining the staff as you move forward?
Yeah, so it's an evolution on that. Once someone is through one of these programs that I just spoke about, they go into your normal pool of staff that get on with their business and so on. But at that point, it's crucial for each and every individual to understand what is their next step and what options they have in front of them, right? And if you're an operations engineer within our managed services department, what options does that individual have in front of him? Is that to move in our professional services team? And then where within our professional services team, there are multiple roles within that team. If they want to move into a SRE type of function, where do they want to move? What role specifically? So ensure that the staff understand what is their next step and what options they have, and then have with that individual's leader a concrete plan to move towards it. I mean, it's very much basic and kind of common sense, but working with people is exactly that. It shouldn't be rocket science, right? It's about it's about connecting with the person, and there are things usually go easier, but that's massively simplified and overly simplified.
Well, you're relying on individuals to always work well together, and that's not necessarily the case. But yes,
not
I understand that. Yeah,
definitely not. Yeah.
Okay.
So and just to complete that trail of thoughts, right? And as that individual progress their career, it shouldn't be seen necessarily just as it's not someone we need to go and hire at a higher level externally. You need to recognize that individual as well. Each step, however small, need to be recognized in whichever way, whether that is obviously title, first of all, there's a monetary piece to it, and so on. It needs to be acknowledged in some way. So there's always in everyone's career these small steps going forward, and you're never really just stuck and standing dead still. Because as soon as someone gets to a point where they do not know where they're going to, and nothing is not really interesting to them, that's when people start looking around and see what other options are there. And usually in today's market, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, so, I mean that's a great point. So I think it's really important to understand, and Willem and I have discussed this in the past, but it's not just about monetary compensation. It's about everything else around the job. Do you like coming to work every day? Do you work with great people? Do you feel part of a team? Do you have those career progressions where you are constantly learning? Because I think one of the big things for a lot of tech people is if you stagnate and you don't have some new challenges on a regular basis, you get bored. I mean, we didn't join this industry to sit and do the same thing. We automate as opposed to be automations. But yes.
Yeah, so absolutely, and that diversity in the workplace the different things that that individual does on a day-to-day basis. It's not just you do the same thing over and over again. Is crucial, because that's how people grow and find out what they really like to do and what not. Another piece that you touched on is that sense of, and these are things that we succeed on daily, but also fail on daily, and we can be better. It's a journey. It's not a goal you hit every day, right? There's creating that sense of belonging within an organization. And what that means is when your company has their vision, their strategy, where the company wants to go, where does the company want to be in 6, 12, 18 months, whatever the case may be. That usually is, if you do as a leader, you do not distill that down to a level that makes sense to the organization, to the team within the organization, and then the individual contributor within that team, it can easily be lost, and there's a disconnect between the strategy. So a good strategy from an organizational or a departmental perspective is, how do you break that company strategy down into something that the individual comes in on Monday morning, have their cup of coffee, sit down, and they understand the work that they're about to do in that area in the company strategy. And it's not just busy work, stuff to fill the hours of the day. I know I'm working on this, and that's aiding that track, and that track is having that impact on our company strategy. And that is tricky. That is challenging to distill it down to that. And again, it's something that you iterate on, right? It's something you go at daily and weekly to get that message sharper. And sometimes we succeed, and sometimes we can be better. But it is something as a leader you need to chip away at.
That's a fantastic piece of advice. And connecting the individual goals right to the company vision is an important part of it. And I think that's fantastic advice for anybody out there. Any strategies you would recommend to people out there on how to go about doing that? I mean, what do you do on a daily basis to help? And success and fail, sometimes.
Yeah. So from how we've done it in customer success is look at our corporate strategy and just think of it, distill it down, and what does this mean to us? And then develop the strategy from within customer success. What do we want to do? What is within our control that we can influence the company strategy? And made it very clear, what are the 3 or 4 things that the bets that we're making, what we want to focus on to aid in that. And then for those 3 or 4 things, how do we broke it down in something very specific. What does that mean to the professional services department? How do they aid in that, right? And how does the architect within the professional services team aid in that? What are the things that we want to see from that? The next level down is, how do you create objectives for the individual that the leader can track, not track, but work with the individual to create clarity on what their expectations are from the organization for that individual. Something they can cover weekly, monthly, and quarterly to see whether they're on track. Are there things that we need to change course? It all comes down to having that connection with the individual, and having your leaders to be engaged with those individuals are crucial. So start at the top, break it down on the things that each team, at each department wants to focus on. What are the things they want to influence or achieve? Then break it down which teams that are doing what within that, and then that's how you're going to track whether you're actually going to hit your goals or not.
That's fantastic. Okay, it's a great way to. So last point of view, we talk about this very structured approach to giving people ideas of where their goals are, how we structure them, giving people room to grow. But within that room to grow, and within these very structured goals that you're trying to, what about flexibility to come up with new ideas, approach new technologies? How do you deal with that?
Yeah. One thing I usually tell my leaders is if at the end of a quarter, if you haven't made 2 big mistakes, you probably weren't as busy as you should have been, right?
Wow.
And that can be dangerous, but the main thing is, people need to feel the freedom to try new things, to experiment. That's how we learn. That's how we just the best ideas usually come from within the team and within your department. So creating that freedom to try and experiment, not do way out things, right? But do something that we haven't done before, because that's where we grow and that's how we learn. If you create an area where you do not allow people to speak up, or you don't allow people to try new things or just step outside of the norm, you're probably not gonna get the results you want to achieve, or you're gonna just be you're gonna stay where you are, and you're gonna keep doing what you are doing today, and what you do today is obsolete tomorrow, right? So you need to keep evolving, and the way to do it is try new things. If it doesn't work, try something else, right? It's but having that mindset where it's okay to try something, and if it's not a success, it's okay. You've tried something.
For sure. So Willem, thank you very much for this. I think this is hugely helpful. Might be even helpful for me in understanding how I can better run my teams and organizations. Definitely. If you had to sum up, the advice in 5 bullets or so that you would give to somebody else in a similar role to yours, trying to deal with the talent scarcity, how would you sum this up today?
I would say, first of all, always be in a development mode. Whether the market is booming or the market is down in the dumps, it doesn't matter. It's always better to grow from within. We very selectively hire these high-end talent external, very selectively. So we've got a very much grow from within approach, and it's served us, so well. So always be in this preparation mode or upskill mode or development mode, whatever you want to do, and make it a commitment. Make it an not just words. Put your money where your mouth is, and give it an owner, give it a name, and give it a KPI, something you want to track. This is where I want to be at the end of this quarter, and see whether you're making progress. Make it a priority. That's the first thing. Make sure everyone in your business understands where next. What are they working towards? It's not just same old, right? What is next in their career? And have your leaders having that conversations with them, and find a way to facilitate then when the time comes, right, to move people into roles that's going to accommodate for their ambitions. Then create that sense of belonging. Maybe it's not the right term, but create
it's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, so create that piece that everyone understand that when they come into work, what is it that whatever they do is not just busy work. I am doing this to influence that goal or strategy or whatever it is. And then lastly, it is a competitive market we be in. You need to be within the realm of reason from a compensation perspective, right? You cannot be on one of the extremes. You cannot pay someone 10% of the market standards, right? You are just setting yourself up for attrition and making the problem worse. I'm not saying you need to be the best paying in the company. If you get, or in the market, if you get a lot of these things right, you don't have to pay ridiculous salaries to keep people. People are they have enthusiasm. They feel a bit of a fire burning, and they're motivated. You can run a very, very efficient organization. So that's it from my side. Yeah.
I think that sense of belonging is something important that we've always driven at Mirantis. We often call it the Mirantis family.
Exactly.
That is a big driver to helping people feel part of the bigger whole as well, along with all the other compensation. Obviously important, but training, learning, growth are very important to keep an individual moving forward. Well, Willem, this is awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for spending the time chatting to us today. To the audience, thank you very much for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about the Mirantis family or what we're doing at Mirantis, or if you'd like us to help you with any of your cloud native initiatives, please feel free to reach out and contact us. You can find us at www.mirantis.com. All the information is there. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your feedback on this topic. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, Willem.
Thank you, Shaun.
Have a great day.
You too. Thanks a lot.